exploring the vast worlds of He-Man and She-Ra. Join Sean Scavarna and Matthew Duke as they discuss the history and mystery of Eternia and Etheria, diving deep into all incarnations of Masters of the Universe.
Hey, you know who's back? It's the Legends of Grayskull podcast. Now that you know, let's go get ready for the show. It's the Legends of Grayskull podcast. Sit back and enjoy the ride right now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Legends of Grayskull Revolution Reviews. Today we are doing episode 4, The Dogs of War. I'm Matthew Duch here again. We're back with Sean Scavarna, Curtis Ackerman, and unfortunately Jesse Arnold could not be here with us again for this episode. So we are slumming it today with Matthew Rodriguez. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Excellent. Now that we got Mad Rod here.
Hey, we got to, this season is ramping up. We're in episode 4. We're kind of nearing the climax, and I thought that you guys needed to step up the game a little bit. And no offense to Jesse, but when we're talking about cool and deep, interesting books and comic books and stuff like that, he's your man. But when we're talking about Motu,
yeah, and plus you always help me get to climax. So. Oh, I'm sorry. This
Legends of Grayskull, not Off-World.
Wait, whoa! That's not. I thought he was referencing a Motu character named Climax.
Yeah, Climaxer.
Yeah, Climax. Yeah.
With a 3 X's, right? Is that what?
So we are here in the penultimate episode with the penultimate. Matt, so real quick here, how were you enjoying episodes 1 through 3 thus far?
I have enjoyed them very, very much. I've watched them several times in preparation for reviews that I have some other friends that are probably reviews that are not going to happen. So,
well, you guys generally take like 12 months after the.
I've stored those thoughts and ideas up, but no, I've been very, very impressed, and like I watched some of the behind the scenes, the episode 1 review you guys were doing, and I definitely think that I'm on the same page as far as like we get why this is kind of so fast.
Mm-hmm.
We wish some pieces were drawn out a little bit more, but understandably so. I definitely think even thus far 1 through 3 that they found a pace that was quick, but it didn't irritate me.
No. If anything, I feel like it's paced like an old cartoon show. Like it's boom, 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 boom. We're not, there's no wasted time.
Right.
We're using it all. So,
Yep.
So you guys know the drill. We're already on episode 4. If you're somehow here without having watched Revolution on Netflix, I have no idea what's wrong with you, but go watch Revolution on Netflix, then watch episodes 1, 2, and 3, then come back and join us. All right, we're going to jump right in.
Welcome back for those that just went and did all the stuff that he just said, and now you're here with us.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Episode 4, The Dogs of War, Scene 1. Adam and Cringer are locked up in the royal prison with Skeletech taunting them. Adam says, "It's true, you really are Keldor," and Skeletor replies, "In the flesh." Skeletor lets Adam know when he joined up with Hordak in the Horde. Hordak took Keldor from his mind and gave him a fake origin story, but thanks to Motherboard rewiring him, Skeletor has pieced together his true origins. He now knows he's a king denied the throne. Adam tells him that a king would never kneel to invaders, and Randor knew this. Skeletor counters, saying whatever Randor did or didn't do doesn't matter. And without Paternia for his soul to rest, Randor's soul will be lost to time and space. Horde troopers bring Marlena into a cell with Adam and Cringer. Skeletor says it's a pity that technology blocked Adam from the power of Grayskull because he'd love to see the look on the other guy's face right now.
Oh, it's me. That's right. So yeah, it's pretty cut and dry, this scene, but at the same time, I do like I like how much Skeletor's taunting him here, and the way that he does that, it doesn't matter one way or the other about Randor. It almost reminds me of the "I was the roommate of your brother's sister's first cousin" thing. What does it make us? Nothing. It just has that vibe to it that amused the hell out of me. But yeah, just seeing it's that whole, the hero's brought to his lowest moment, and Skeletor really does feel like he's won the day at this point. So that's pretty crappy. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, it's like, Skeletor's sitting here gloating, but at the end of the day, he's still like just somebody's minion,
Yeah.
like it's like you're sitting here gloating, but you're not really the one this isn't your victory.
Yeah.
And just kind of waiting for him to kind of realize that, and do his Skeletor thing, and try to be the one that's on top. And then for Adam's perspective, yeah, I mean it's one of those things to be, you've suffered a great loss, and now you're kind of at that low moment. And then the only thing that could make it worse is to see, one of your loved ones suffering, and, see his mom kind of tossed around and not really doing hot. That makes it even that much more. So, if we thought that in the last episode, when He-Man went to Snake Mountain and was very aggressive and tearing stuff up and not really caring, I can imagine that after this it's going to be when he finally gets his revenge on Skeletor, it's not going to be pretty. So
yeah, they I think that a little bit of that banter that was even carried over from the first season of Revelation, that I don't personally remember too much, like Prince Adam discussion with Sika, like any scenes. I don't remember too much of that about Filmation. I do remember a little bit in 2000X, but I just feel like they carried over like good character development. Like they talk to each other, like they know how each other ticks, especially now on the new level of knowing that he's He-Man and wanting to see the look on the other guy. That's not just a nod to like Skeletor being like, well, I prefer the other, like, but yeah, it's like a dig at Prince Adam, like I'd rather be, it's like me against him, it's not me against you, Prince. Like,
exactly.
Like you need to power up to be on my level. And so it carried over a lot of that kind of that tone of just good dialogue and good character development as far as those two go. So that was really nice to see.
The one problem that I have with it, though, is that as I'm watching it and I'm listening to it, it still sounds like the Joker talking to Bruce Wayne, like saying, I would like to see the look on the other guy's face, meaning Batman, because that's all I'm hearing. Like as he's going on, that
Curtis cannot get past the Jokerness of the
voice. There are definite, and it's not, I would say it's not even, I would agree in the sense of, especially if you are a Batman fan, because there are, and you know what, Curtis, to your point, I definitely think there are multiple lines in this season and multiple lines in season 1 that they just went out and just said, we're going to give him a Joker line. We're going to do a Joker phrase, and we're going to see how many fans catch it. And I definitely think that might not have been the smartest thing to do, because personally, like, I don't see very much connection between Joker and Skeletor, and I think for the most part he does a good job just being a new character with that voice. But yeah, definitely it like brings you back to thinking about Joker when they're like, okay, this would be a funny thing to say, like he's going to mention Ivy and or whatever. Like in season 1, I know there's like 2 or 3
Linny.
times.
Whenever he said Linny in season 1,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I could
Yeah.
hear was Joker.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, just the look on the other guy's face it just feels to me like something the Joker would say. And I know that Kevin Smith's a huge
Yes.
Batman the Animated Series fan. He's a
Mhm.
huge fan of, you know, Hamill and his portrayal of the Joker. And so I feel like some of that plays into this, but that, yeah, there's a lot of times where it's not always, but there's certain things that are said that I'm like, that's very Joker. And the look on the other guy's face was a very Joker moment to me.
I wouldn't be surprised, Curtis, to your point, if because I do know that there is minor little bits of like improv in this
Mhm.
that I wouldn't be surprised if that was a line that Hamill wrote himself
Yeah, I could see that.
for this character, but because he's a voice actor and he like this would sound good, and then it kind of draws into his
Or he
like
ad-libbed and they just left it in. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Nah, I agree with you guys. It's picking right up. One of the best parts of Revelation for me was in the second half where they're at Point Dread and Skeletor and Adam meet for the first time after, you know, all the reveals, the secrets on everything, and their dialogue where they, like you said, they are viewing them as equals in a way, and Adam's able to stand up to Skeletor in a way that he's never been able to before, you know, because he's always had to act the cowardly prince, and now it's just like, you know, and I like Skeletor's disappointment of like he's like, I get that it's you, but it's not as fun because
Mhm.
it's not you. It's not the you I want to beat. So yeah, lots of layers there, and it's a great scene between the two of them. All right, moving on to scene 2. As Horde troops continued to deploy in Eternos, Evelyn and Tila used Tila's new Ka abilities to spy on the army. Tila is worried about where Adam is being kept, while Evelyn reminds her their mission is to find Skeletor and get the Havoc Staff. Only with all of the ancient magics combined can they hope to defeat the Horde, Skeletor, and resurrect Preternia. Sneaking up on them are 2 Horde troopers. But to everyone's surprise, a mysterious warrior in a white and gold battlesuit jumps in to help Tila and Evelyn. Making short work of the troopers, the warrior reveals himself to be Duncan in his new Man of War suit. When asked where he's been, Duncan says he's been playing matchmaker. Back at Gwildor's workshop, he and Orko are still arguing with each other as Gwildor begins the tech upgrades to his Sword of Power. Orko asks how much longer the modifications are going to take, just as Grizzlor, Mantenna, and Leech break down the front door.
Yeah, I mean, starting off like the invasion of the Horde, so cool. Like seeing all those troopers come out of the ship and stuff, and like the ship's in the air. Like it really does feel like one of those, like, how on earth are they going to get past this? Or how on Eternia, I guess, are they going to get past this? Because it just seems like such an overpowering, just massive force that they're going to be going up against.
It's like there's the Hordes. Can we talk real quick, because we didn't really discuss the Horde troopers and their kind of redesign. I guess I really like what they did with them. Where
I didn't notice a redesign. I thought that they looked
I
very
mean, they're pretty similar, but they're
remember.
not as humanoid. They're a bit more robotic, and they're about a good foot and a half taller than your regular human. So, I mean, obviously you've seen fan art and redesigns and everything where you take the Horde troopers up to like a mech level, which I think is a bit too large. Like, I like the in-between that they landed on here, where they're not just a humanoid robot, you know, regular sized. There's a bit of a different proportion, and the height I like where they settled on the height for them.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't notice anything. I'll be honest. Like it just looked like an animated version of the toys, and I didn't notice really much of a difference. So
All right.
Matt?
I noticed the site. It was again animated version of the toy. I think that those figures specifically hit or in the show like they were recognizable. Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
knew what they were. They definitely like add that Iron Man spin to just kind of that general Iron Man design that's used multiple times in this show and other shows, where like it's almost like everyone goes there. Loving me some Lynn and Tila stuff. Again, the building of relationships, the dialogue progression, uh, Snake Tila, Goddess Tila, love the design. Um, and this Man of War, I like it.
Not the character from the Create a Character contest.
No, different
Man
guy,
of War.
different guy, definitely different guy. Which is
Same name,
still,
same name though. I actually listened to your guys' episode right before I watched this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how weird
it's
is
so
that?
weird. Yeah, so weird. And then but I will say, and I don't know, are you guys like it's obviously not spoilers for future episodes,
Correct.
but well, like I'm not spoiling anything if I say or I can't mention anything in future about future episodes,
We
correct?
try not
Try
to.
not to.
Okay. But if I was to say that this costume feels like it could have been connected to other new toy action figure upgrades, um that almost in design and color scheme it just seemed like that. So I don't know if that was something that was on the table in the writing session and writing room. And I know that like the CGI has a different view of let's Power Ranger up all the power.
Yeah.
And if they were like possibly going to do that a little bit more than they could have in this season, um but it definitely had some nods to like I'm like, well, it just felt a little bit not maybe misplaced, and I'm getting again wonderful, like absolutely love it, but I almost feel like if I was to try to get too nitpicky, that like wouldn't have Dunk the Hunk like not armored up Man at Arms be like more of this, like because he's like hiding from the castle and like hiding from like everyone's teched up and he's like on the run, like, but then all of a sudden he comes out and he's in this like the most upgraded armor of all time. And so it just felt like a little bit weird. It like caught me off guard, I guess.
I think it's kind of the like he admitting that he's getting up there. Like he needs more protection. His best friend and King just died.
It's like
He's not
Banner
getting
in a
any younger.
Hulkbuster suit when he can't turn into the Hulk.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or even if you go like the Batman Beyond route, if you guys watch that,
Oh, yeah.
that's how Bruce gets to the Terry suit, is the
Mhm.
fact that he needs more help from the suit, and he's even got more suits that do more walking for him and everything else, because it's just like, after all these years, everything he's been through, Man Arms he's got to protect himself a little bit better.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And of course,
felt to me
the
a lot
extend
like-
our nods in it are
Yeah.
amazing as well. Like,
it felt to me too like if Revelation was a one-off and we never got anything else, like that was kind of his walking off into the sun kind of moment.
right.
And now it's like, okay, well, we still want to keep him involved in the story. How do we do that? Because he's no longer Man at Arms. And so, I don't know, the name is okay. Like it doesn't bother me. Having a cool new suit that maybe protects him a little bit more in his older age and stuff, and has some cool new gadgets. That's cool. Like I was okay with it. It wasn't anything that I was like, oh yeah, heck yeah. But I wasn't like, I didn't have a problem with it either.
It's the guy who retires, but he still comes into his old job every day because he just doesn't know what else to do with his time.
Yeah. It's like Tom
Retirement
Brady
sounded
retiring and then
great.
coming back to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah.
But then once you're home with the kids, it's like,
Yeah.
oh.
Matt,
Back to you, Curtis.
No, I was.
Oh,
I'm
you were.
good.
I think I already started like, but yeah, I like it. I mean, this season and this specific moment too, it's like how many times are we going to get, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, scene where we see a new action figure. Like there's just like throughout each episode, you're like, New action figure, check. New action
Oh,
figure,
yeah.
and like not even in a bad way. Like I
No,
genuinely
yeah.
enjoyed it for what it was. So
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I just got done talking in the last episode about my strong dislike for William Stout and what he did with costume choices and stuff like that. And I think it's the absolute opposite in this. Like I love all the costume change. I love the wintry costumes that we got to see for Tila and Evelyn, and now we're seeing the green outfit for Tila and stuff, and the white robes for Orko. And I just love every one of these I see, and I'm like, man, that would be a cool toy. Oh, that'd be a cool toy. That'd be a cool toy. So yeah, I'm right with you. Like I just feel like, I know this isn't the same as like back in the day with Filmation, where that cartoon was really to sell toys. Like that, the whole purpose of it was to sell toys, and that's not exactly what they're doing here. But that being said, there's a lot of cool toy ideas in this.
And you
So,
just can't deny the history of, I mean, it's a toy line. You're gonna have it. So to have these new designs and these new armors feel like they should be on the shelves already, I think just shows that they really hit the nail on the head as far as coming up with the designs.
yeah, well, even like the I don't even know how to describe it. It's almost like a colonial, like Civil War kind of uniform that Adam's wearing, like as
Yeah,
his
the
imprisonment stuff.
coronation uniform.
Yeah,
yeah.
like that is a cool outfit too. Like
Yep.
like there's so many different, like even
And
just
so-
little one-offs that's only there for a little bit. You're like, oh, that's still cool too.
And I don't know if you guys discussed that, but like even thinking about that coronation outfit when I was watching it, obviously they want to use the Prince Adam buck that they already made, so they're most likely going to do a figure of this. But do you guys think that it was a little bit of the nods towards wasn't there like blue vest team like Prince Adam? Like was it comic book or like early
it was,
comic book?
the mini
Yeah, there
comic.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't really.
You didn't put those two things. I just thought
Not
maybe they
really,
were putting
no.
those together.
It could be. I don't know. To me, it looked like somebody from the North in the Civil War.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
Or the military blues type thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll kick it over to you, Sean. I've talked a while.
Yeah. I mean, like, just it is interesting. Like, I'm trying to remember everything that we talked about in that. So Evelyn and Tila having to work together, and it's kind of the Keldor thing, but in reverse in this case, where it's like, with Keldor, there was that feeling of he's probably going to switch somewhere around here. And with Evelyn, it surprises me that the whole time I'm like, please don't switch. Because I really, like Curtis was saying, I really do enjoy her interacting with characters that we never saw her interacting with until this series and last series with, the heroes and all that stuff. So I really do enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, just to tag onto that real quick, like they've really made me care about Evelyn, who's a character that I've never cared about in any other series. Through both of these, through Revelation and Revolution. Same thing with, we just talked about Gwildor, and he's also in this scene with the Orko and stuff. Like, never thought, like, I've always, if you would have asked me 3 weeks ago and any time before that who I thought the worst character ever in Masters of the Universe was, I would have said Gwildor. I love Gwildor in this series, so they make me care about characters that I thought that I would never care about.
Well, because they fit in the purpose of who they are. They're not just like your example of Evelyn is that if they're just gonna have her be Skeletor's sidekick, and there's no purpose of her position, like this series alone, like it gives her so many more layers than. And in a good, like in a wonderful way where, even I remember in the movie where I think she says in the movie, she's like something, she says like us or like Eternia will be ours, and then like Skeletor's like
at last Grayskull is ours.
Yeah, and he's like it's mine, like it's not yours. And so even this, like her purpose in this, that she has her own voice, her own perspective. And that's just so refreshing to see that it's not just like a Harley Quinn type of, well, she's just one step below.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she's going through a major transformation, like throughout this story arc, and like I'm trying not to get into spoilers, but there's a line coming up that she says that I think encompasses this whole thing, and we'll get to there. But yeah, I love her story arc for sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sean.
And
Sorry.
and I mean, just to go back to Curtis's point too, we dealt with universe ending events last time.
Mm-hmm.
There is something so much more interesting and so much more immediate to seeing the Horde on Eternia. That was, to me, that's a better storyline than, oh, the universe is about to go up in flames because Evelyn decided she wants to be a nihilist at the last second.
Mm-hmm.
This to me is like urgent on so many levels, and seeing the Horde actually touching down on Eternia, it feels wrong, and I love that it feels wrong in this case. And I love that they kept saying like season 3 of 2000X was going to be the heroes would be like the rebellion to go up against the greater problem, and we are getting little bits of that here with Tila and Evelyn are hiding. Man at Arms are technically Duncan, not Man at Arms anymore. Man of War is also hiding with them, and there's that whole idea like they're just trying to sneak in and do what they can versus they're not able to just come right out fighting against everything. It's too much, which I like. And then I'm one of those people that I've been saying ever since I got invited to do a podcast that something about Filmation that always drove me nuts was the progression is never there. It always resets, and that's something that I know Matt has addressed it tons of times by us doing Legends of Grayskull, where the reset button is always there at the end of every episode. So for me, seeing Evelyn, seeing Tila, and now seeing Duncan progressing as characters, and one, they're, I don't want to say they're one upping, but they're moving forward to address this threat in the way that they're having to address it, is so much of what I've been wanting to see out of Masters of the Universe for 20 years.
Yep.
And we're finally getting to see these moments. Like, I love the Man of War suit. I think it works really well. It gives Duncan this air of like he's the hardened veteran on the field, and it's almost like with all of the suits he's had, it's always been a green and orange kind of vibe where he might camouflage in. This one's almost like the "come at me, bro" suit. It's like I'm going out in a blaze of glory if this is my final battle kind of a feeling.
Well, it's got some of that Orko hero white in it
Yes,
too. It's just like
And that's also like, other than Extendar, there hasn't been a hero that really had that going for him in that way. So I kind of dig that that's almost like this series is, let's go there. Let's put these guys and make them the white knights now of Eternia going into battle against the greater evil.
Where you have the traditional king that like gets suited up, puts the huge crown on his head, and carries the biggest sword and the biggest shield and goes out in front like I'm not this isn't desert warfare, this isn't camouflage, this is like, hey, like you said, come at me, bro. So I definitely think that's a cool, that's cool that you noticed that.
And on top of
it's kind of like when it like mentioning kind of the warfare aspect of it, like because that's what I kind of thought when I saw this scene, because of like nowadays war is fought with drones and it's who can shoot stuff the farthest and stuff like that, like but there was a time, like you think back to like medieval times or anything before like gunpowder really, and where you would have to line up on the battlefield. And just imagine that scenario where you line up on the battlefield and you see the other army approaching, and you just know they've got more numbers than you, like double, triple, quadruple, 10 times the numbers that you do. And just that oh shit feeling, like that's what I saw, like when you see all those horde ships in the air and they land and all these horde troopers come out, and it's like, man, these guys way outnumber us, and we're in deep trouble right now.
Well, it's that whole idea of the enemies almost blotting out the sun. There's so many of them in the sky. But the thing that I love is the line that Adam says to Skeletor in the last scene, where he says, "Then you would know that a king wouldn't yield to an invader."
Mm.
This is that moment where I'm kind of getting chills actually thinking about it. It's the whole. It wouldn't have been just Randor that wouldn't have kneeled, and
Mm.
this is proving how hardened these characters are to be doing what they're doing right now against odds that they would never be able to win, but they're still going to do something about this.
Yeah.
And I
That's
felt
what
like that
makes
was a
it
callback
awesome.
to the 87 movie too,
I
where
think so,
Skeletor's
too.
trying to get him to kneel in front of him. He doesn't want to kneel. Yeah.
And on top of that, it is a callback to the 87 movie because there's literally only a few of them that can actually get anything done here. Because even their own friends have
Mhm.
trouble, as we're going to find out here.
And
So,
and you really quick though, you mentioned that last scene, and now that I'm realizing it, and whether it was intentional or not, that he says to him like, yeah, like, because I think in the episode 1 or the beginning of episode 2, where he's Prince Adam's talking to Keldor, He-Man talking to Keldor, and I think Prince Adam says a line along like, oh shoot, like, yeah, you would be able to lead, you would be able to be what the people need right now, like you fit the credentials. And then this one he's saying like, my dad wouldn't do this, like, don't, like,
Mhm.
you don't have the credentials, like,
yeah.
to be the leader that you should be.
And I
You know,
think it's even kind of the, Curse and I have said throughout this, like, we're not sure if it's how much of the Keldor truth is really truth at this point. And maybe even Adam's feeling that way. And that's kind of a dig even at Skeletor. Like, dude, you're Skeletor. You're like the evil Lord of Destruction. Why are you kneeling for these? Even if you're not Keldor, even if you're
Yeah.
not the king, like, Skeletor wouldn't stand for this. Who are
Right.
you? Like, and that's
Yeah.
kind of,
And I know, Matt, you and I both have a love for the Christmas special, which Sean
Yes.
hates. But like, even like, you think about that, like, he's not going to be one upped by Hordak
No.
in that
Right.
Yeah.
So I
and
think
that's
Adam's taken that point to be like,
yeah.
maybe I can even just get, if I can even just get Skeletor back, like, that would
Mhm.
actually be a boon to our side, because
100%.
Skeletor.
Well, it's like, it creates some inner turmoil amongst the bad guys. It's
Right.
like it's like King Kong versus Godzilla, where like Godzilla's running rampant, so they go to the Skull Island and get King Kong to come fight him. It's like, take each other out, and then maybe we can come back on top. So
Skeletor has tried to take over Eternia for how long, and he's just gonna sit by and let Hordak do it? Forget that.
Yeah, you're gonna play not even second fiddle, but third fiddle to the guy that's actually the victor.
Right.
Yeah. And then I forgot too, so I'll just throw it out there really quick. The Gwildor workshop scene.
Yes.
Again, love these characters together, love the voices, and I love that Orko in this almost reminds me of how Man at Arms treats him in
Mhm.
Filmation.
Yep.
And he's doing it to Gwildor, and
Yeah, I
Gwildor's
think
just
that
there
too.
like Gwildor's just there like, I'm just doing what he told me to do. Get off my back, basically. And then I love that it is a little like the 87 movie. There's a big nod to it with the fact that the Horde breaks in. And I love that they just cut it right there where you're thinking, oh crap. Like that's the end for them, and they got the power sword. The Horde also now have the power sword, because the minute Grizzlord busts in, that's it. And
there's one little thing
it's
in that
nicely
that I
done
really
there.
love too, is it's really tiny, but when they bust in, like, Grizzlord crouches down to get through the doorway, and then like stands back up. It's such a small little thing, but I think it's just like, I don't know. I just thought that was really
from the
cool.
movie. I mean, exactly like what He-Man does in the movie. He he crouches down in there. Like, it's
Right.
I think that Teddy did a great job. Like, I don't think it was full mimic as far as Gwildor's voice, but again, the reason why we love these characters in general is because we see them in contrast with other characters. Like, that's how, I mean, let's just talk about like the human aspect of it. Like, the reason why I love you guys are because you guys are all not the same. Like, and so when you see them be able to like show like, oh well, Gwildor's just a replacement Orko, but then you see this scene happen, and these scenes happen, you're like, no, they're different dudes. Like, let
Yeah.
them breathe a little bit. Let them have characters. Like, let them have a personality and
Mhm.
watch them interact. And like, literally watching this 5 episodes, and if anything came out of it, it's like there are way less Orko and way less Gwildor haters today than
Oh,
there
yeah.
were a
Mhm.
month ago.
Oh yeah,
Like,
for sure.
Really.
it's crazy to think about that.
Mhm.
And Gwildor very much is playing the role that Roboto played in Revelation, as far as
Mhm.
kind of the tech guy that's doing something with the sword and all this and that. So like he's playing that role, but he also has his own personality, and
Yep.
and so seeing that interaction between him and Orko has been cool too. So
Absolutely.
All right, scene 3. Marlena wakes up in the cell, and Adam goes over all the obstacles that are making him feel powerless to stop what's happening. Marlena lets him know that love and the willingness to fight for what matters are his power. Even simple courage is power, and Adam has more than anyone she's ever known. Meanwhile, in Grayskull, Keldor and Skeletor are having one of their heart-to-hearts. Where Motherboard is hardwired into the castle. Skeletor is claiming that Hordak has helped him reclaim his birthright to the palace, while Keldor asks why Hordak's banner is the one flying over this place. He is just Hordak's errand boy. And Keldor convinces Skeletor to pull Motherboard's plug. We join Hordak looking out over Eternos, saying how he hates the smell of this place as Skeletor comes up to him bearing a gift box. Hordak says his gift will into the gift that Motherboard gave him, Eternia. Hordak mentions how even now Skeletor is so attached to that magical talisman that is the Havoc Staff. Skeletor admits that once you have the Havoc Staff, it is not easy to discard, and that is why Hordak cursed Keldor with it so many years ago. Skeletor admits he should thank Hordak for giving him purpose, taking him from exile and training him, but he's also given him someone to fight against. Hordak is convinced Skeletor still works for him, and Skeletor gestures to the gift box. Hordak opens the box to find Motherboard's head inside. Hordak powers himself up and declares that this will be their final battle as the two begin to fight. In the cell under the palace, Adam, Marlena, and Cringer feel the shaking as the battle begins. Through the help of a locator device on Marlena's ankle, Andra finds her way to their cell to free them, asking Adam to promise that they'll save every last one of the people infected by the Horde. Adam agrees and tell her since he can't be He-Man, he's going to need to stop by his father's old armory.
Cool stuff.
Matt Rod, you're first. Yeah.
Looks like I'm up. So I know you guys discussed this before, but so jump in. Like, obviously the chip on the tongue,
Yep.
all of that stuff, like everything sort of was fast forward. Like, yes, it definitely in comic book form, in your head, like in a comic book form, they can make that seem a lot longer than it was in this. But even just imagining like Keldor like being king, and like he basically, like, you thought he was going to take over by making everyone tech, like with that big battle scene at the beginning, but that was just his way of getting in. Like, the way to make everyone tech was like to give them, for lack of better terms, to give them the vaccine. And so so it's interesting, like watching this all play out. And yes, part of me is like, oh, it happened so fast, and like, you know, Andra, like she's just dumb too quick. But like, if you think about it in
That's
the
almost
logical
exactly
terms,
what
like,
I said in last episode.
yeah, like
You were with us.
I you know, giving it the benefit of the doubt as far as storytelling goes, though, is that like, yeah, like I mean, we have to give it room to breathe, because if we're going to call her dumb for that, like, obviously, like, He-Man's super dumb, and like everybody that accepted this guy is super dumb. He just freaking showed up, but also it's a pretend story, so like whatever.
with 5 episodes.
Marlena, I'm right with you guys. I think you guys said it in episode 1. Like, I just heard Alicia Silverstone, her voice is too iconic as far as a ditzy girl voice that like she did not work for Marlena for me whatsoever.
Mhm.
And same thing honestly with Tila as well. Like her voice was not as iconic as Alicia Silver, but like Alicia Silverstone, Marlena sounded younger than Tila in season 1, like in some scenes. Like
Mhm.
I just didn't really care for that. And the two switches on these actresses, I very much enjoyed.
Mhm.
Um, and then we get these little pockets of like filmation, like that are just you say it's or think it's boring because it's just so formulaic, but like yeah, like Adam, this is literally why, bro, you went to heaven and everyone was their super powerful self and you were yourself.
Yep.
Like that's what sets you apart. Like so that foundation has always been there. So that scene was just nice and she's got her little anklet device on and then the scene with the box was great just because
What's in the box?
yeah,
What's
exactly,
the
exactly.
box?
Well, and it's funny because we all know
We all
as
knew
soon
what
as
was in there.
he was
Mhm.
carrying that box, and all of us are like, we
Yeah.
hope we get to see Motherboard's head because that's
Mhm.
what's in it. Period.
Absolutely.
And so we're watching it, and he's just like, it makes perfect sense. Like he's explaining, like it's a very good, um, hey, I know you were my master, but I've grown up since I've been with you.
Yep.
Like I've learned things. I've become more of a master myself in my own ways. And so I really liked the voice of Hordak, the body type, the imposing sort of l- leader that he is for the Horde. I really think that they nailed that character. Um, that makes you want more, but then they didn't give you too much of him. But just
I
again, that's they push so much stuff in these 5 episodes, but the balance, I think they balanced it very very well.
Mhm.
just jumping in real quick on that Hordak part. The other part that I love on him is that up until now, he's had everybody else fight his battles for him.
Yes.
But
He
it's
makes a
not
point of
because
that.
he can't. Like he can throw down, and if he's got to throw down, he's going to. Like, and so getting to that point, like getting him to the point where he is ready to do it himself, is kind of that Thanos moment. Like, fine,
Well-
I'll just do it myself.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, like that's what I got from this.
And at the same time, it's showing like this is the uncalculated part.
Mhm.
Everything else is planned so meticulously, so methodically, and it's all gone to plan. Part of the inoculation, the vaccine thing was the fact that Keldor had that ready to go. He was doing it with or without Andra because they already had that planned out. Getting Andra in on it was just that little bit he needed to like make it more legit in the eyes of the Eternians. So like, but then that's when Hordak realizes he messed up. Is they're on that balcony, he's got the box, he sees Motherboard's head, and Hordak realizes I've sent my top dudes to go get the power sword.
Mhm.
I've got no troopers with me. It's like I've got to do this now because this is the
Well,
one thing I didn't see coming.
yeah,
I
he
was
likes to have everything planned out and very
Yep.
methodical. Whereas we've talked about like Skeletor is more chaotic, like it's
Yep.
just impulse stuff.
Yep.
And so Skeletor has really brought him into his type of fight. It's like they say, don't wrestle with a pig because you're both going to get muddy, but the pig's going to like it.
Yes.
That's Skeletor. Like he wants you to be in this situation where you have to think on the spot and do things
Yep.
right away.
And
And that's not the way that Hordak likes to do things. So
Nope. Hordak would have never let him get that close, except he was assured by Motherboard that he was under complete control.
yeah.
That is that monkey wrench there. And
Yeah.
It'll come up to bite him later. We'll talk about it. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
I think it's you. I think it's you or Shawnee.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if I had anything else besides because that was a big part of it. Marlena. So Marlena and Adam there. I know I mentioned in the last episode episode 3 was really like by that point, Adam had lost all his support system. Man Arms and Orko were off doing their thing for the mission. Tila's off doing her thing for the mission. Marlena's mysteriously absent. So, like, then to have this scene in the dungeon where Adam's at his lowest, like he's realizing he messed up. He acted aggressive. He put his faith in the wrong person, and who better to help you with that than your mother? Like, and she's just, her coming in to ground him again, give him that support that he's missing. I mean, the dude hasn't had time to grieve, not in the way he should, because it's just been, we got to crown a new king. We got to do this. We got Skeletech. We got Motherboard. We got, and it's like, if anything, this is like the calmest Adam moment where like he can just think and clear his head and get back on the right path, and reminding him that he's going to do the right thing. He's gonna mess up, but he's gonna and that it's just a great scene between the two of them.
Yeah, and we talked about in the last episode how she was mysteriously absent as Keldor is handing out these chips to people to put on their tongue and stuff, and like, where is the former queen? Like, she's not there, like either saying yes, this is a good idea, or no, it's not. Like, we don't know where she's at, and then she gets thrown in this cell, and we don't know where she's been or what's happened, but she doesn't look like she's been treated well, and it doesn't look like it just happened. Like, it, I don't know if she's been tortured or if she's been what's happened, but she's not in good shape. So it does help to kind of bridge that, what I felt like was a plot hole in the last episode, that like, where the heck is she? Somehow, some way, Keldor, Skeletor had her taken out of the picture or whatever.
Yep.
And now here she is, and she's not in a good way. So
yeah. It's like, for me, this was one of those moments that I agree completely. Like, Alicia Silverstone couldn't have done this at all. Gates McFadden it was like the minute that she delivered her speech to Adam, I felt like I could take on an army, because that's the kind of way a mom should make you feel. Like, in that moment in particular, like, the delivery of that was priceless to me. Just hearing how she said it, knowing and having faith in her child, and also her being smart enough to know he was He-Man a lot longer than Randor ever did, if we're following the Filmation like guideline of sorts.
she says that in Revelation too, when they find out, she admits that she knew before.
That's right. I forgot they did that. So
that is valid.
It's all of it build up to this moment, and I love how like what Matt was just saying. It's like sometimes it's like just having a pep talk from your parent is enough for you to like get that second or third win you need in that kind of a moment. And I like how that was done. And like the thing, I don't know why I didn't even put that together, but Hordak is Thanos. And the thing that I always found disturbing about Thanos is how calm he always was. It unnerved me to no end that he literally would just walk through an army if he knew the Infinity Gauntlet was just on the other side of the battlefield, and he would just just get them by me, I'll keep moving. And when you see Hordak have to take up arms against Skeletor here, it really is unnerving too, because he does the littlest he needs to prove I can still beat you this way.
Yep.
And it's interesting because you're watching this kind of
doesn't seem like he's taking him seriously. That's for sure.
It's like he's literally swatting at a fly while he's trying to do it, because you can tell he's not going to expend the energy needed to fight him, and he's not taking this, like you said, he's not taking it seriously. But it's interesting because he is so focused, and Skeletor's so ADHD riddling kid that it's just like the two crazy forces coming together. It actually makes one of the most entertaining battle scenes in this entire 5 episodes for me to just watch this and the turn of events of Skeletor knowing stuff, and it's like Hordak's just finding out how much Skeletor knows now, and I like that it even has
That
him
he
a little off
remembers, yeah.
balance, and him just going, "Oh crap!" Like
Mhm.
Motherboard led you to these conclusions, and now I got to deal with this on top of everything else I'm doing right now. Oh, come on, I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have hit most of it. I just got 2 more things. One is, we talked about earlier on when Motherboard kind of smacked Skeletor down and told him not to, speak when
Yep.
she's, talking and all this and that. And, I said this is going to come back to bite her, and this is where it comes back to bite her. Like,
Mhm.
like you very much you pissed off, you poked the dog in the cage, and you really shouldn't have. So there's that part. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention is, like, I'm still with this whole Skeletor Keldor thing. I don't know if Keldor, like, if they're split personalities, I
Mhm.
don't know if Keldor is good or bad. I really don't. Because in
He's
this
definitely
situation,
self-serving.
he's well, or is there an ends to what he's trying to do? Like, he convinces Skeletor to take out Motherboard and fight Hordak. But if Keldor was good, if the story that he told when he was pretending to be Keldor about him and Randor being under the desk and being, good friends growing up and stuff, is there a part of Keldor that is trying to restore that, to get Eternia back, to help He-Man? Because if he was, that's what you would expect him to do. You would expect him to have Skeletor turn on Hordak and Motherboard, which is what happens. Or is it self-serving and he's just trying to secure the victory for himself or themselves? I don't know. And I'm
Okay. I'll play with that, because I'm right with you. Now that I think about it, there are moments where Keldor goes back to I don't know if it's back to the castle or back to Stake Mountain, and he turns back into Skeletor, like he blips,
Yeah.
and then he's back into Skeletor. Okay, and then he's having a Skeletor moment. But if you stop and think about it, every moment that he's Keldor, is he ever really acting like a bad guy? I don't know. Like, outside of giving the chips to the people, which is like part of the like part of the big ruse, like he, I don't know. And again, that's it's an interesting play, because even earlier, I'm like, you guys did your episodes, but I'm watching episode 1, and then 2 happens, and it's like, I know that they could make him Skeletor, but he did it just good enough where I'm like, I kind of want 2 characters now. Like, I kind of want them to just be their own dudes. Like, I really enjoy this take on this Keldor character, and making him Gar, and I don't know if you guys talked about that side of it, but that it seems like Gar is very tech heavy, which kind of is a little bit of a twist, because I know 2000X made Anwar Gar very, like, spiritual, like Asian culture spiritual side of things, but it seems like it's going straight tech with Anwar Gar in this, whether they were to go there in the future or not. Sorry, Dooch, you were saying something?
I was just gonna say, so if you did read the Forge of Destiny prequel comic,
Okay.
this seems like a good point to bring it up.
Yeah.
Sean, I actually have a better appreciation for this comic now, because now, having seen these 5 episodes, I realize what they were actually trying to do with this.
Which is what, for those of us that haven't read that.
This is, so it deals with it's kind of an origin story for Cyclone, but not really. But they do follow his Gar. He is a Gar. It has to do with Randor and the Eternians visiting Anwar Gar for the first time in a long time, and it really gets into the kind of the magic versus technology, where the Isle of Anwar Gar is very technological based, and they don't trust, the Grayskull magic. And so at the time it felt very uneven, but now thinking back on it, it's like, okay, so this this was giving us the background for this, but we didn't know it was, and that's why it felt uneven at the time. And we even said reviewing it, like, where are they going with this?
Well,
You know,
they gave some of that, but it's still uneven because a lot of
I'm
it
not
still
saying
doesn't.
I'm not
can
saying it's a
appreciate what
great
you're
comic
saying.
now.
No, I can appreciate what
but
you're saying, but the way it was done is still a Tim Seeley comic. Is all
it
I'll
is.
say. So,
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, I see why they chose to tell this story.
yeah, no,
You know.
I agree with that. I agree with that, but
Yeah, I mean, my main thing on there is just like, and part of it's me hoping that Keldor's a good, like, I really like Shatner, I really like the character, and so I'm just hoping that it's a good guy, and so
Well-
I'm sitting here looking at it, and I'm going, man, I don't know, I think that if Keldor, that personality was good, he would be advising him to do the things that he's doing right now. So I don't know.
I think Keldor is a better guy than Skeletor,
Yeah.
but I don't think he's a good guy. And we kind of touched on that last week.
Here's where I would put it. Here's what I would say. Like Darth Vader in Return of the Jedi, right? He's a bad guy, but he still has that connection to his kids. He still has that little
that's
bit
what
of
I'm
something.
saying. So
yeah. Yeah, I think there's something in there that's redeemable, that it's like, you know,
but I
that's
don't think
what
he's
I'm
ever
looking
going to be like, I'm Captain Keldor, I'm going to save the children.
Right.
Like, no, he's
Do
never
you, do you think so? Do you think that if, let's say, Motherboard's there for like 2 years, okay, and Hordak and the ships are 2 years away, and Keldor is king for 2 years, I think there's enough evidence in his character that by the time they get there, he's actually happy with his life that he like
Oh,
has
yeah.
as king.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like Skeletor's been gone long enough, and maybe he pops up in the mirror every once in a while. But I think that like living out the life that he never got to have, because I definitely think that those flashbacks were like the Loki Thor flashback under the desk type of stuff.
Yeah.
I think that I don't think that those memories were fabricated. I think that they were just unlocked.
Well, and Dooch brought it up in the second episode. Like when he is pretending to be Keldor, when he doesn't realize that he is Keldor and he's pretending to be Keldor, he does come across very genuine. And it's not like Skeletor is not that great of an actor. Like Skeletor, like, you know what I'm saying? Like we've seen through Filmation and other things when he goes like undercover or whatever, he disguises himself. This was it felt very genuine. And so part of me wonders, is there a little piece of Keldor in there that is still that brother of Randor that cares about Eternia, that there's some connection?
Dude, Skeletor can't wait to reveal himself if he's like undercover in that way. Like it just personality wise, like he can't wait to say gotcha.
He's incapable.
Yeah.
He's incapable of being stealthy.
Yeah.
But I do like, again, I'll reiterate, especially for Matt Rad, who wasn't here last episode, like I like what they've done where even with Skeletor and Keldor being the same person, they are not the same at all. Like Skeletor is clearly Skeletor and Keldor is clearly Keldor. And, that way, you can still have your Skeletor insane Lord of Destruction. And I like that better than just he's Keldor with no face.
Right.
So.
Correct. Agreed.
All right. Scene 4. Man of War, Tila, and Evelyn have to fight their way through the infected, trying to get to the castle. Meanwhile, Orko is handling the heavy hitters of the Horde all on his own to buy Gwildor time to finish the modifications to his sword. Gwildor enters the fray, wielding the Sword of Power to help fight once he completes it. Hordak and Skeletor fight throughout the Royal Palace. Every move Skeletor makes, Hordak counters easily. Flashbacks at the Freight Zone show Keldor being trained by Hordak. Hordak tells Keldor magic is a cheat, and the Horde is based on technology. Whoever masters technology masters the universe. Meanwhile, the heroes find their way together for a brief reunion until the infected Rio Blast, Snout Spout, Buzz Off, Ram Man, and a ton of Eternos guards converge on them for battle. Evelyn teleports away to find Skeletor and watches as Skeletor and Hordak take their battle to the skies. In flashback, we see Hordak giving the Havoc staff to Keldor. And as Keldor receives the power of Havoc, he is reborn into Skeletor. And now in front of Grayskull, Skeletor and Hordak face off, with Hordak saying using technology to face him makes him a fool. Skeletor's hands glow in black and purple magic that soon captures Hordak. Skeletor knows that Hordak relies on tech because magic is something he doesn't understand, which is why he's always needing an acolyte. Hordak says he should have left Keldor to die on that island years ago. Skeletor makes a sword appear from his Havoc staff and declares, "My name is Skeletor," and runs Hordak through the chest. Skeletor turns to see Lynn stand in a portal. She casts a spell that cuts the Havoc staff off of his arm. She takes the Havoc staff and exits through the portal.
Your first, Dooch.
I know. I need to take a breath for a second.
I'm verbose even when I do that.
Heck of a scene. Heck of a scene. I love the Hordak Skeletor battle. It is beautifully animated. I love all the nods. Hordak turns into the cannon, the rocket cannon ship. Like, that's something I never thought we'd see again. You know, they're blasting through the sky.
When they make something that's initially 100% conceived as kind of corny and slapstick, and then make it look cool.
Oh, it looks so badass.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, that whole thing is great. The Hordak or Skeletor killing Hordak. This, I guess it's not early because it's episode 4 or 5, but still, like, I didn't expect it there. And Skeletor embracing the magic, and like we've been saying, embracing Skeletor. I am Skeletor. Like, I have become something else. Maybe even Skeletor is declaring, maybe I started as Keldor, but I'm no longer that. And again, it just Hordak's overconfidence and like I said in the previous scene, him allowing himself to be put into that situation where he has to fight with no safety net. It just shows that Skeletor is the Lord of Chaos, Lord of Destruction, and he will make you do stupid stuff, and you'll pay for it. So, and of course, the heroes joining up and everything, that was good too. But Skeletor and Hordak take this part for me.
So I actually was really entertained by the fact that when we go back to Gwildor's place, all of a sudden you're seeing the Horde guys getting their butts kicked out of there, and Orko's taking on all of them. And I'm like, this is why Revelation and now Revolution has made me an Orko convert compared to me as a kid not liking him at all, because I've had that discussion many times. This, I don't know how they managed to do it, but they managed to make me love this character finally. And I love that he's holding them off by himself, even Leech using the sucker to try to get him, and he uses his scarf to like block it and all that stuff, which was great. And then I love that when he's like, "Is it finally ready?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think so." And he's like, "What should we do?" "Well, you got a sword, use it." And he's just like, "For the love of God, give me something here," And
I like how the whole time Orko and Gwildor have just been needling each other and everything. Yeah. But then it's like, as soon as the Horde shows up, it's like, dude, let's get them. Like, it's the bickering's gone. It's like,
exactly.
We are on the same side. They just like to mess with each other.
And that's like, that's the thing about the Horde every time. It's like when we were kids, they were introduced as Skeletor and He-Man have to team up against a bigger evil, which for me, that was the first time I ever heard of that happening anywhere, and the idea that someone evil was going to team up with a good guy blew my mind. So it's like the fact that they did that with Gwildor and Orko in this was really cool, for the fact that they were needling each other, and the two halves of technology and magic had to team up to make stuff happen here, which was a really nice touch. And then I loved the back and forth during the fight with Hordak, because during it you get these flashbacks of him being trained, him accepting the Havoc staff, and you get those like in between moments of things that might have gone, they might have passed those by for bigger moments. Instead, they did these like personal little moments in that battle to show, here's the birth of Skeletor, and literally the skin and muscle melting off his face, and there's Skeletor for the first time. And for me, not liking the way Filmation handled the technology side of Hordak, this is how I would have rather seen it as a kid. It literally showed him as being like an unstoppable force to fight Skeletor. But then that moment where you get to the point where the magic is also coming through and bubbling out of him and stuff. And I like that this is Eternia. There's more than one side to this and all that. And I love that you see Hordak against the ropes finally and all that. It's really like, I love that he's doing everything in his power to just be like needling Skeletor there. And that's what Skeletor's like, I'm Skeletor. Are you freaking, like, bitch, I'm Skeletor.
Even when Skeletor's got him, he still doesn't seem worried or anything.
No.
Like there's no point where Hordak loses his confidence.
Yeah.
Like through the moment he's stabbed, he's still like.
Even that though, could that be a sign? You know what I
Could
mean?
it?
Like, as far as just Hordak himself, like it's yeah. And when you're saying that too, and both of you made the point, don't mean to cut you off, but it's like technology and Hordak, like everything you guys have said, it's just about the calculation.
Yep.
And like, what can't you calculate?
Yep.
Magic. Like you can't like that's one thing you can't count on. Like it's
Right.
not it's and maybe someday you can, and the whole like magic is, technology we don't understand yet and blah blah
Yeah.
blah, and like those conversations. But essentially it's like unharnessed technology. So like the fact that he doesn't understand that, and that stirs Skeletor, and Skeletor realizes that. So it's a cool moment.
Can you imagine Hordak trying to like study Orko's magic like before he got it all figured out? Like, it would drive him nuts. There's no. How do you fail sometimes? Get it right the other times. Like it makes no sense.
Error 404 popping up constantly and driving him insane. It's like the only person who can completely like mess with his calm is Orko, because he doesn't understand it anymore.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have hit on most of the points there. Just a couple more things on there. One was with the whole Keldor training with Hordak. Once again, I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Like, because this is before his mind's wiped.
Right.
Like, was Keldor voluntarily working with Hordak, or was he being forced to? Like, what's going on there? Was did he already have the intentions of going and taking over Eternia and fighting Randor? Like, what's going on at that time? So that was kind of part of what's going through my head. And then the only other one thing I wanted to mention that I didn't hear you guys talk about was when Evelyn takes the Havoc staff part.
Yeah.
Like, it was very much, I think that's a fanboy moment that Kevin Smith made in there, because a lot of people were like, why didn't Doctor Strange do that to Thanos and just cut his hand off with the gauntlet? Because like he did that with the Cull Obsidian and he lost his hand, and they're like, if he can make those portals and just make them close, and why didn't he just do that and cut his hand off with the gauntlet? And that's exactly what she does. Like, she cuts his hand off with the Havoc staff, and it's like, okay, that to me, that was like a nerd moment. Like, you guys wanted to see this and you didn't get it in Endgame.
Right.
We're going to give it to you now. Or Infinity War. We're going to give it to you now.
Well, and we're going to give it to you because our character's smart. Like, our character's like smart in a way that like you wanted them to be anyway. Like, we wanted Doctor Strange to be smart in that way. And so right along with that is that she doesn't even hesitate. Like, it's like not a like,
no,
hey, it's not a hey babe, like, how you doing? Like, we're going to talk about the old times. It's just she's there to get that. I'm getting that. I'm gone.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that really helped.
Yeah, we just got done watching this big fight between Hordak and Skeletor where there's all this banter back and forth and it's attack, counterattack, block, this and that. And she's just like, no, I'm just there, get the Havoc staff. Like, yeah, you're right. No,
Well, which confirms her character arc that
Yeah.
she's like she's not lingering in the past in that moment.
No.
Like she's moved on and she's talked about it and she's made those like you guys probably talked about like the jokes and like and her and Skeletor and she knows what love looks like and those types of things. But I mean when they leave it up in the air the last scene and then in this scene they jump forward and you have Orko fighting them off. I just thought it was again really cool seeing that taking Orko to the next level. With the purpose and Gwildor like using Gwildor in 100% like logical way. Like he is a locksmith, he is a key maker, he is a tech wizard. Like and so to use him in this series, like they didn't necessarily really even need to you know what I'm saying? Like they not that they wrote the scene, they didn't write this. I don't think that they went in being like, okay, so how can we work Gwildor into this? I think that they had a story and they like brainstormed on it and they were like, yeah, like, well, we need something like we need an upgrade to the power sword, and then that took them down the Gwildor path. I don't think that they necessarily like wrote this in mind with like wanting to do a Gwildor, I guess. And like you guys touched on, just the fact that dude Skeletor, I just love when he's true to himself and like he's true to himself in so much of this stuff and like it's those moments and those one-liners that like you're just like yeah, like again we all have our own interpretation of these characters in our heads and like how they would act or what they would say and everything. And I just give this writing team credit in like finding those voices that like for the most part the masses of us are like, oh yeah, that's what he says, and like, oh yeah, that's what he does, and like with Hordak and like the calculation, like giving him this posture and this purpose, like, oh yeah, that's what he would do, and so I think that that's just really really cool in the storytelling side of it that again they found a voice in all of these main characters, Evelyn and everything with her growth that people are identifying with just as good writing.
Well, and it's one of those things too where like Skeletor's a bad guy and he does some awful things, but secretly we're all kind of rooting for him a little bit. So when he finally is done being somebody else's B word and he's like, no, I'm not playing second or third fiddle anymore and stands up, we're all like, yeah, like this is what we wanted. What have you been doing with this whole tech cult and all this kind of stuff and kneeling to other people like this? That's not you. This is you.
Yep.
I want my Skeletor back.
Right.
All right. Scene 5. The heroes are trying to take out their comrades who are infected without killing them. As Teela uses her magic to stop part of the palace from falling during the battle, we see the two sides of her Ka and Zor being pulled apart. As she cries out in pain, Marlena tries to make sure she's okay, but Ram Man attempts to take them both out. Before he can hurt them, the battle armor from episode 1 steps in to knock Ram Man away, this time piloted by Adam. I really wish Jesse had been here for this. This is the first time Adam has seen Teela and realizes she's green now due to the Ka magic. She tells him she's been doing this for his father, to access the ancient magic and bring back Preternia. Adam admits that she doesn't need to do that for him. He just needs to know she's right there beside him. Evelyn teleports in with the Havoc staff and warns them Skeletor has killed Hordak and is becoming a bigger threat than ever. Teela takes the Havoc staff and begins to use the Havoc magic. excuse me. She tries to use all three powers together in an attempt to recreate Paternia, but the power is too much for her, the various incarnations phasing in and out as she's trying to keep it together. Reality itself looks like it is in danger as Evelyn casts a shield around the heroes to protect them, and we hear Adam yelling Tila's name as the screen cuts to black. Dun 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 dun. I lost track.
Sean.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is good stuff because, like, again, seeing Evelyn go in, cut off the Havoc staff, and she just gives it away when she shows up again.
She's in for the mission. Like
she is. But if there was ever a moment where it's like, oh, if we wanted to go back and do the next 5 episodes, it could have been she takes that and goes fighting, and so
that's what the old Lynn would have done.
Yes,
and that's what they did season 1. That's season 1.
That's what drove me nuts about season 1, and I'm glad that in this she just gives it away. We get to see what Havoc looks like when Tila is affected by it, which is an interesting new design, and that is one where I'm like, I hope there's a figure because I wouldn't mind seeing that figure personally.
Aren't they releasing that figure? They have the new NECA Gargoyles line, right?
Basically, I was thinking that too. She really did look like one of the gargoyles, but it worked, and
a little bit.
And it did, like when she gets the Havoc power and she just starts doing the incantation. I like how otherworldly she was sounding, and the effects they gave her, the script there with the dialogue, and I love how that's like the last thing you hear is Tila, and then it goes black. I just, because I mean, it's like if you've ever had a moment like that, the cliffhanger moment there, that's the moment where it's like if you're late for work, you're just calling off sick because you got to see what happens right after this.
And for
a great cliffhanger.
For a minute there, you think it's gonna work. Like everything seems good. She's got the 3 powers, everything's going, and then all of a sudden it just all starts spinning out of control. Very well done, very well paced.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot to add on that. You know, it was cool seeing all the other heroes that were mind controlled, you know, and even just the attorney and guards, and then, you know, we've talked about how Tila and Ad have been on these kind of separate journeys as this series has gone on. So to get them to come back together, and you know, the first kind of interaction is like, oh, you're green, you know, and then like kind of,
I did it,
you know,
for
like
you.
yeah, I mean, because you would need to explain that, like you just show up and you're green, you know. And like here's Evelyn, like what the heck is she doing here and stuff. So you know, I just felt like, even, you know, we've talked a lot about how there's 5 episodes and you can't fit all this stuff in there, but they fit enough in there to make it make sense. You know, even just the little dialogue pieces like that. So and then I loved the whole part with, you know, towards the end there with the staff and the, you know, the different, you know, versions of her and all kind of morphing together, and all that. It was just very cool visuals. So
I'm down with this tri-sorceress sort of like this vibe of the we this season specifically, especially with Randor dying, and you guys talked about it episode 1 of your reviews, that like I'm in love, and I think and to be honest with you, I think that our age range fans, especially with Motu right now specifically, it seems like as far as how this season has been accepted, we are finally just ready to accept new content, like new story, like progression of character and all this stuff. We're even in last season, and I know a lot of it's bots and a lot of it's people complaining, but like it's like, dude, I want new stuff. Like everyone's like, well, it wasn't Filmation, and it's like, I don't care. Like I'm to the point where I just want new stuff. So when I see this Trisorceress like kind of entity and this new way of you know her forming and these new powers, it's just giving me like I need that creative juice in it, and so
Can I offer a quick point of view on there?
yeah,
I think the here's my problem with it. We went a long time with nothing. There was nothing for Motu, right?
Yep.
Teases of a live action movie that never happened, and all this and that.
Yeah, right.
And then we got Revelation, which, in my opinion, was very close to what we had and maybe what we wanted, but with some changes that people didn't like.
Yep.
But then we got the CGI series, which is a huge departure from everything that we knew of Masters.
Yep.
But if you watch it, it's fun.
Oh,
It
it's
is
amazing.
a cool series,
Absolutely.
right? And
Yep.
I think after having gone through the CGI series, even for the people that didn't maybe watch the whole thing, maybe they only watched a little bit of it, I think that people walked away from that going, hey, that was really different from what I know, but it still was kind of fun. And I think that opened some people's eyes to, maybe change isn't all bad. And so
it's almost like they like did a side show to like help soften the blow of, hey, we want to like spice things up, and like it's not fully changing, it's just again progression of character. Like how many times, and that's why even with the most recent Spider-Man, they didn't do the Uncle Ben stuff because we've seen it 15
We know it.
times.
We
Like
don't need
we've known it so much, and so that's why like early on it's like, yeah, I get it that Prince Adam and He-Man are part of the lore, but once we finally get over the hump of Tila knowing who he is and everyone knowing who Prince Adam is, now we can actually explore like new ideas that just for me, that's why even with like Infinity Saga, like those movies, I remember specifically being like, hey, I don't know what's going to happen. And a lot of shows and seasons and movies and stuff and books turned into movies, like we kind of know what's going to happen. Like I know in Lord of the Rings what's going to happen. Yes, it's cool seeing it visually, but I know what's going to happen. These, Witcher and like all this stuff, like Reacher, and we know what's going to happen. And so finally we're dabbling into like completely new storyline with characters that we like. And I'm like, Lynn, she just cut off his hand and walked away.
Yep.
Good for you. Good for you. And so that's what's kind of fresh. I guess a fresh take on this season was where right when they kill Randor in the beginning, and you guys talked about it in your episode 1, and I'm like, dang, that kind of stinks. But let's see where they go. Like, show me what they're gonna do.
Well, to counter that really quick, the 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle series, for instance, they went to places that I didn't expect them to go. Splinter dies. Spoiler alert! But
wow,
they literally,
thanks. Now I
don't
have
to. I was just getting ready to watch that.
Yep, I was gonna watch that.
And you shouldn't have watched Ninja Turtles 5 times in one day. You should have took a little bit of that time and saved it for 2012 when that. No, but anyway, no, like I mean, they went to places where the other versions didn't go to at that point, and they made really compelling stories because of those choices. And that's kind of like I've been so like frustrated about Filmation and people who that's all they want to have, because it's like, what about that lets you have a story that is going to keep you moving forward? It's just going to keep resetting. And I get that there, the appreciation is there. I'm not going to ever say, and undermine it as, oh, it's crap. It's not, but it worked as episodic TV for us as kids to do morality tales. I wanted to see a progression of what happens when Randor isn't there, what happens if Tila becomes a sorceress. And now that we're going there, I'm just sitting here going, I'm really excited that they're going to some storylines that I've always wondered what could happen over 30 years of my life ever since the show was over when I was a kid, And
I guess just kind of sum up because sometimes I just like splurt shit out of my mouth and I don't think about it. But like to really kind of consolidate is like Revelation was almost too close to what we wanted. So then we found ourselves nitpicking on the stuff that's not perfect. Whereas I think the CGI series, at least for me, I don't want to speak for, everybody else, but for me, the CGI series opened up to me like, hey, some of this stuff, even if you do wild changes, like stuff that's just off the wall, it can be pretty fun, and it could be a whole separate version of Masters in your mind. And it for me at least, it opens me up to accept more things like this in this series, and not try to nitpick every little detail.
The
So
whole bad Skeletor, Lynn, and like the whole bad faction and CGI, like they branched off of like because they had dissension within like the kingdom and within like Eternia, like, and so having trapped Kronos being Man at Arms mentor and like things like that, where you're like, okay, like I'm this is a cool take. This is an interesting take. And so seeing all that stuff again, I think you hit the nail on the head because character wise, yeah, like Tila Filmation, she was always kind of a jerk. If we were to literally take Revelation voice actress Tila and like have her read Filmation lines, I bet we can convince some people that those lines came from the Revelation show they watched a couple years ago, and they wouldn't even check on the source, but like they would assume it was, oh, that's from Revelation. She was a jerk in Revelation. Like, no, actually, that was her in Filmation. She had one-liners to Prince Adam and like and He-Man and stuff like that. And so
well,
I
part of that's
I
the voice too. We talked about that in the episode 1 review. Like Sarah Michelle Gellar is just not like she just has kind of
She has a
that
tone.
yeah
yeah.
It's
agree.
resting bitch face the tone. It's not
Yeah.
the look, it's the tone.
100%.
Resting bitch voice.
Resting bitch voice. Yeah, thank you.
Well, we lasted as long as we could.
I didn't say the F bomb yet. So
Not yet. We're getting there. But back to the scene at hand. So I agree with you guys completely. They one of the great things though was just seeing those come back together. I mean, we've been on all these divergent paths. So like, Grant, we know it's episode 4. We know 5's coming up, but still, just seeing everyone together, it's like, okay, we're regrouped. We can come up with a plan here now. It's not as bad. Adam coming in the Hulkbuster armor, a la Steve Rogers in alternate universes. That's why I wish Jesse had been here, but
Did you guys notice? Speaking of Ram Man, though, because he jumps up as evil Ram Man in this. Did you notice that in his solo shots they make him look massive, but then in all the group shots they actually go like little guy Ram Man size? Like,
I didn't notice that.
In any of the group shots when he's standing next to even like
he's Filmation sized where he's the short stocky
which I thought they did a great job as far as just visually with him going that route. It's just the action figure was not in the same vein, so that's kind of what threw me off. Unless this one's technically New Eternia, so I guess it would be
we haven't had an actual Revelation Ram Man action figure.
Yeah, that is true. My bad.
Yeah.
You can cut that from this.
We're gonna. No one will ever know that happened.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so that wraps up episode 4. You know what that means? We got to give it our Power Sword rating. So 3 Power Swords is the very best of the best. 2 Power Swords is an above average episode. 1 Power Sword is a good episode, enjoyable. Then we got the Cosmic Enforcer. That's right down the middle, neither good nor bad. Then we got the Havoc Staffs. 1 Havoc Staff is bad. 2 Havoc Staffs is worse. 3 Havoc Staffs should be sent to Matt Rod's basement where it'll never be seen again.
Why are you even talking? Like, why? What is this rating system?
We're rating the episode.
Did I not just explain it? Do you really need me to repeat it again?
I don't know. Please don't.
Okay. Sean, what's your rating?
I gotta give it 2 Power Swords.
2 Power Swords from Sean.
Because it came back strong after the 1 Power Sword episode, and all the elements are lining up for me. Like, I literally, if I was late for work, I'd just call off sick because I'd need to see what that 5th episode is going to have finally.
All right.
First of all, I just want to say that I do have a problem with the rating because I do think that Cosmic Enforcer should be the best rating. That should be above 3 power swords.
Gotta keep that balance.
You get the feeling maybe when he does the 5th episode, he's going to rate it as Xanthor and just leave it at that and drop the mic and walk away.
If he doesn't like it, I guess.
I think it was definitely better than the last episode. I don't think it's quite as good as 2, but the fight between Skeletor and Hordak was amazing. I'm gonna give it 2.5. I think it's pretty. It's almost a perfect episode. So
I love it. Matt Rod,
What's the best score it can get?
3 power swords.
I think that it's a. I'm going to give it a 2.5. I'm going to give it a 2.5. It finished off strong. Had me some Gwildo. You know what? I'm gonna give it a 3. I'm gonna give it a 3.
Matt Rod giving out the 3 power swords.
Yep.
The only thing better is a Cosmic Enforcer.
No, it's not. I've gone back and forth between 2 numbers.
I was at 2 and 2.5, or I was just like struggling.
Skeletor and Hordak, amazing. The heroes coming back. I'm going to go with 2.5. This was one of the best episodes of the series so far. I want to give it a 3, but I can't pretend that it's perfect like Matt Rod can. So
it found its pace though. I think that this had a nice pace where we're watching.
I'm giving you grief, but yes.
No. I don't. I'm not. I'm rejecting your grief, and I'm arguing it. Each faction was coming together, and the girls were coming together, and then the wizards are coming together, and then the good guys are coming together, and they're all bringing it together.
Yep. And I will say that Hordak death scene shocked me, like legitimately. So
did it make it sound like Fright Zone is on an island? Because was that the phrase, like on this island?
Anwat Gar's the island.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He should have left him for dead on Anwat Gar.
Oh, okay.
He should have taken him with him. That's what he's saying. Yep. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. That was episode 4. We'll be back soon. We're going to finish this off episode 5. Until then, make sure you're binge watching this show on Netflix. That is the way we get another season. Go to IMDb, make an account, rate it, Rotten Tomatoes, any of those websites, get it rated. Thumbs up, double thumbs up, all that. And until next time, watch it again and again and again and again and again and again.
Just leave it on. Just leave it on.
Oh, come on.